YouTube says we're live. Hello, everybody. It's Wednesday. Welcome to another live stream of us preparing our novel for Novel November, or whatever we're going to call it. November novel. Can I just say, so I put up the poll on my Instagram and on YouTube. And it looks like so far that hashtag Novel November or November Novel is winning, but no one has voted for what I think is the best one, which is November Book. And I'm not down because of it, but I'm definitely a little bit sad. I guess you could say I'm a little down because of it, because, I mean, come on, November Book. That's just so much better. Alright, I forgot to get my stream notes ready. It's the 8th day. Drink. Seriously, what's up with that? How can none of you guys, I know there's not been a ton of votes, but how can none of you guys think that November Book is should not be the hashtag for our challenge, the November Book challenge? Oh, sometimes things just doesn't work out. Yeah. So, you will have to excuse me first of all, because I felt like I just had done nothing these last couple of days. So right now I've been out running 15 kilometers today, and it's not tricky, but I'm definitely tired right now. So let's see how we'll do for today. So where did we go last time? Last time we got the ordeal and the reward down, and that doesn't seem like much. I guess we got the approach to the inmost cave as well. We did. Yeah, there was Monday. It's a long time ago. Yes, so we are definitely moving fast through the points of the hero's journey. We're missing the road back, Ressurection, and return with the Elixir. I guess we sort of maybe should make sure that the ordeal and reward makes sense. And can I just say something? This is our what? Is this our 7th live stream or something? Let me just check that. I think this is our 7th live stream. Where this is our 8th live stream of novel preparation. And I finally, yesterday, I sat myself down, and you know what I got done? Not that guy. No, not that guy. Oh. I got the name for Vespa's older sister, so we don't have to call her supportive character number 1 anymore. I mean, how great is that? So, I found a webpage called Behind the Name, where you could just do all kinds of things, and there were a different bunch that I searched for and thought would be cool. So she's of course a human, so I'm not gonna bother really with coming up with new names for humans. Like I'm going to use names that exist in reality. And I landed on Afaya. I don't know. It's supposed to be Greek and a word for disappearing, which I thought was a funny one. I also had search for sister, but there's apparently not a lot of names that's like sister, which is strange. But there was Naya, which is apparently Greenlandic / Danish for sister. I didn't know that. Cisco is Finnish. Etinish is Ethiopian. Amharic, I think it's called, the language for sister. I don't know. I wanted this to be like... I want the... how do you say it? I want the... I don't know why I can't find the words right now. I want the setting to be much like the setting in the Realm Oak, which is like temperate climate, which is like, you know, northern mid-Europe. I want the same thing here. And I do have plans. I think Naya, like, I do have plans for a culture, a species later on that's going to be very inspired by Vikings and the old Norse. So I didn't really want a name necessarily from that, and I think Naya it sounds very Nordic. I guess we did use Nana in Danger, and that's Old Norse for brave, but that's also my grandmother's name. That's why I used that. But yeah, I ended up with Afaya. I think that we can make some fun things with her background lore. That she's maybe from southern country, southern state, because it is Greek, I believe. And you know, it can give a little mystery to the character. So that's what we're going to call her, and I'm quite happy with it. Also, I feel like it's a name, and that might be because I'm Danish, and I don't know a whole lot of names outside of like English and German, maybe. So this sounds fantasy-like, I feel like. You know, it's nice to have names that sounds fantasy-like. Or we could, and I've already done that with the chapter Peter, which is a reference to how George R. R. Martin does things, where he takes a name and he slightly changes it. You have Peter in Littlefinger in Game of Thrones, of course, A Song of Ice and Fire, who is like, it's Peter but with a Y instead of one of the E's, right? You also have Catelyn. Caitlyn. I don't know, I've always said Catelyn. But yeah, I ended up with Afaya. I'm not sure if we're going to be with PH or with an F, but that will be her name. Yes, and just... So Afaya is, of course, she's a rather young paladin. Afaya. So far it's just with PH. And let's... Maybe it's a good idea to put this into our refusal of our hero's journey. Supporting character number 1. a fire. Oh my god, it's gonna be so good. Still don't have a name for the castle, of course. Oh, what did I do? Nope. Fire. And change everywhere. I don't know why I'm doing it like this, but it just hit me that we can find and replace. So support character 1. Replace with a fire. Replace, 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 replace. I'm just making sure that it's happening correctly. God damn it, we've written support of character number 1 a lot. There we go. Yes. Okay. With that out of the way, let's move on, shall we? So the ordeal. The ordeal was actually the approach to the inmost cave. So one night after Sorry, I just had dinner. Apparently that's not sitting super well with me. After another unsuccessful squire training, Vesper and Lemon find Son of the Evening doing what she thinks is mighty suspicious behavior. She decides to follow him. The suspicious behavior is that Son of the Evening is also on the lookout searching for the color of the flood. We figured out last time that it would be a pretty fun subplot. I felt like, at least, if the Son of the Evening and the Paladin leader and a fire, she's now called, all knew about this color of the flood rising, and that's sort of the, that's sort of the thing that is going on in the background. El Cuervo, hey, welcome to the stream. It's going mighty fine. I was just talking about how I found a name for our supportive character number 1. And we're gonna call her, most likely at least, Afaya, which is supposed to be Greek, Old Greek, for like disappearing, and she keeps disappearing in the story, so I thought that was funny. Yay! So that's cool, and we're going to do her persona maybe next week. Let's see. There are a ton of more stuff. Maybe I'll do a persona off stream, but yeah. We are closing in on November. So yeah, we don't have to say supportive character number 1 anymore. We can just say Afaya or Afaya. I'm gonna say Afaya, I think. Yes, and now we're just going through what we did on Monday. So, Son of the Evening is going to the temple, except there's no service or other reason to be there. Inside the temple, Vesper found that Son of the Evening is walking away from a pool, a basin of blessed water with a statue against the wall. Vesper and Lemon goes to investigate that same pool statue. And maybe Son of the Evening or a chapter comes back, and Vesper decides they need to hide in the water. And there, underneath the water, Vesper notices a gap behind the statue, which she's able to squeeze through because of her small size, and of course, Lemon, her budgie, her bird, is very small itself, so it's no problem with him, her. So her. On the other side, the player falls into a secret passageway where the water is like being held up magically, so it doesn't leak into the secret passage. And following the secret passage, Vesper and Lemon finds himself in the same abandoned cell where Vesper overheard the villain and another shadowy figure. And this turns out was the secret lair of the villain. Now I will say, I think I want the passageway to like fork at some point. So Vesper is going to go one way, which it could be like one of her reasons to hear a voice that guides her again. But we don't know what's gonna happen if she goes the other way, because she's just going to the left, right, or right, whatever. The secret passage should fork at some point, with Vesper being guided by a voice. That she thinks is the mentor. What did we give him? He was supportive character number 2. Yeah. And of course, we don't have a name for that guy yet. So, and then the ordeal happens. The hero faces the greatest challenge yet and experiences death and rebirth. Vesper is now convinced that the Son of the Evening is the villain or the shadowy figure behind it all. She finds proof of the conspiracy to kill the Paladin leader. And we said here, what is the proof? Is it a message? Is it messages? Is it orders written down? Maybe it's instruction to kill, to create poison, and a poison flask of some kind. And we had, what if that particular pool or basin is actually poisoned already? Vesper and Lemon would be in quite the danger. Yes, that's a good thing to think about. The villain return. Also, what if this wasn't just a conspiracy to kill the Paladin leader, but to kill, like, all or most of the high-ranked people? What if the plot and the plot slash conspiracy turned out to be not just killing the Paladin leader. We need a title for him, of course. We need a name for him, of course. But all, if not most, but most, if not all, high-ranking, or maybe just paladins at the castle. So like, so like the idea is indeed to poison that particular basin I think I need to. I need things to add up with some sort of ritual where, like, we have in Christianity, where they drink his blood, right? And this would be like a ritual of, maybe it's a recommitment to an oath, and this particular basin is that oath. It's dedicated to that oath. So they would be like drinking blessed water from that basin, from that pool, and then that gets poisoned. Or that's the plan. I think that could work. That's also like, oh, we thought the plan was just this, but now it's actually much bigger, because without the paladins to defend, they can bring about the flood. And I feel like I kind of want, I thought of it today, I kind of want like the land to be in like a valley, I think, with a big river there. That makes sense, right? Paladins are knights that use water magic, blessed water, but they do use water magic. So it would make sense to have a temple or a castle near that. It's just because I was running around in a valley today with a nice little, what's it called? It's nice, a nice little stream. Elixir says, what I don't get is why the villain would want to cause the flood. It's a good question. It's a very good question. So, and it is something that I need to expand upon in my background lore. But the basic idea is that the cultists of this flood believe that the world needs to end and then be reborn with only the worthy inhabiting it, and that the flood will be the thing that enables this. That's the very basic idea, but it's a very good question, and it is something, now that you remind me of it, it is something that we need to like figure out, pinpoint it, have it down, nail it. Because that's something that's very, of course, it's integral to the story, right? So let's have a comment. One of our billion comments already. When did we write the flood? What? Why is Google Drive only saying floods is over here when it's clearly in there? In the actual text, it's there. What the hell? And why was it a different search function I had just going? What? Okay, that's weird. Flood. There we have it. So she learns about the flood. let's just have here pinpoint why the cult wants to bring about the flood. And the end of the world. Quero says, today was a good day, not a lot of classes, and I started reading The Dragonbone Chair. Oh, that sounds nice. It's great. Nice weather, not a lot of classes. So what are you studying, if I may be so bold to ask? And The Dragonbone Chair. That sounds like an interesting book. How was the start? How was the beginning of it? Actually, let's have that. It could be a chat question. Yes, so where we were in the ordeal, the villain then returns and immediately confronts Vespa with what she's doing there. Oh, actually, I just realized something. Deep in the shadows. Actually, let's just grab this and put it into here. And then also have a reason why the cult is rising in the first place. What makes Castle Temple so important? It could also be for the Paladins. I don't know what they call in English as El Cuervo. It's Servicios in Ressurection. Sort of like learning how to be a waiter barman. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know what that's called either. So, but nice. And are you enjoying that? If I may be so bold. I mean, I've heard a lot of good things about, like, for example, people wanting to be sommeliers. So, like, they care so much about the wine and how to serve it and drink it and all that. I think that's pretty cool. Kinda. Some subjects are easier than others. Yeah. Well, it's like that with everything, isn't it? I think it's also like, if you can see the logic in it, that often makes stuff easier and makes you automatically more interested. And when I say logic, I don't mean like actual logical, but if you could if you can see where you can use something, or that can be fine. That can be a logic in its own. I think a lot of people who are good at sports, I would say they figure out pretty quickly. They can see a logic to it, and then they can do it. And that automatically means they want to do more of it, and they train harder and so on. They become very good. But yeah, I remember that from my university as well. Like, we had some programming stuff, not enough to be like a software engineer education. My education was called meteorology. And I remember I just had to pass those. Like, I can look at a code and see it makes sense, and I can probably also look at some coding and see maybe an error sometime. But if I have to do stuff myself from the get-go, from zero, from scratch, no way in hell I'm doing that. I have no idea where to start, and I don't care for it either, so, you know. Right, where were we? So the villain returns and immediately confronts Whisper with what she's doing there. This, of course, leads to a dramatic fight, though Whisper is quite strong, so she escapes using that, combined with Lemon's small but sharp beak and claw attacks. Both her and Lemon are hurt in the fight and going to be exchanging blood, as creepy as that sounds. In the end of the fight, Vesper and Lemon manages to get away with the instructions to poison the blessed water and kill all of them, all of the paladins and chapters. So we definitely need to. Let's just have the proof. We had a proof one here. There. Figure out some sort of ritual connected to the paladins of Castle Temple. Maybe it's like a graduation ceremony, an ascension, where some squires are like they get to become paladins, and then all of the paladins and the chapters are also like joining in on that service. That could be once a year, right? That would be pretty cool. Sort of teachings of the five pillars. Connected to that, yeah. Which is also a rare occurrence. Could be an ascension ceremony from Squire to Paladin, where all of the Paladins join in. Okay, yeah. Manages to get away with instructions to poison the blessed water and kill everyone. So... Aquara says, oh, that one is a good idea, and she could be like jealous of not being part of it to add to the conflict. Yes. That's a very good point. Let's write that down. And like, because we're already, I think I want to establish that Vespa is just not good at paladin stuff. So, like, she doesn't know how to handle the blessed water, how to manipulate it. Vespa could be jealous, adding to drama. And why she's not there, why she's not at the temple, / allowed there. Because I did have this idea that so the mentor, the ghost of the hero past, he's buried with like his weapon, or most of it at least. Maybe it's in my mind it's like a cracked weapon, and then we can use that fact that it's a cracked weapon in another book. But like I kind of wanted her to have this, I wanted Vespa to have this big anime-like moment where she grabs that, I think it's going to be a hammer, gets up from the catacombs, which she's going to end up in, and then freaking smash her way through the temple wall. Because she's not allowed inside. They're not gonna allow her inside through the main doors. And that could just be a fun little thing of her, like, okay, she really needs to save the day, so she smashes the wall of the temple. But and my idea was that this weapon would be called the Second Son, and that could maybe be the title of the book as well. There are two problems with that, I think. Not really a problem, but if we save that weapon being utilized for something cool and big for the second book, whatever the plot may be there, it would make sense for that to be called The Second Son. It was the second book in the trilogy, right? I'm not sure it makes a whole lot of sense to have the first book being called something with the second in the title. And I just realized that today. That of course also means that I need to find another way for Vespa to get inside the temple. And stop. And stop, in the climax, stop this from happening, right? I just also realized that we probably need... There should of course be guards and like normal soldiers there. Not everyone is a paladin. Squires could be from soldiers. And I mean, she could warn guards up here in testing allies and enemies. Guards / other soldiers. Not everyone at the castle / temple is going to be a paladin after all. Only the very elite. So there is like this castle needs to be a military facility, right? So yeah, we definitely need to. I need to read up on that. Castle / temple needs to be military. I was just thinking now. What if every soldier was a paladin? Because I think I wrote in, and then you just had like generals and high ranking paladins, right? Because I think I wrote in my 1 minute story, Equilibrium's Fall, that the Templars were attacking the city of Forthard. And not the Templar soldiers, it was just Templars, and all of them were Templars. Or are they? Just needs to be, but of course that could be like a way of differentiating themselves from the Templars. And Templars have been described like everyone is. Equilibrium's Fall. we really need to figure that out at some point. And of course, so I'm guessing at the road back, this is where, as Vespa and Lemon gets caught, like she needs to, Vespa needs to like she needs to figure out who the villain is here, right? That would totally make sense. And then that person ends locking her into the catacombs, because that's like right next to, almost right next to the lair, secret lair. It's not really a lair, but Ooh. Ooh. I just had an idea. But it's not for this book. It's for the second book. But what if... Let's just have these copied. And here... There we go. I know the suspense. I'm so good at building suspense. Book number 2. Maybe it's a little too much suspense. Idea. Paladins versus Templars is the overarching conflict here in this book. Then that's separate enough from the flood and the entire world at stake in the third one. Because I was thinking like maybe what? I had this feeling like maybe we should just maybe we should just have it be the flood again, and then it will somehow lead up to the third book. But that was also like it's like reusing the same formula, and I know it worked very well for the Hunger Games, so why shouldn't it work for me? But I don't know, I never liked that. not saying that it's not a great book, but that I really never read them. Of course, I haven't. But I did see the movies, and honestly, the first one was the best by far, and the others were like, the second one was just basically the same plot all over again. So yeah, I want to avoid that. And of course, I'm not sure whether or not we're going to do the hero's journey again, but I mean, now we have it there. So this is book number 2. Synopsis. Have it center, have the climax center around the first son of the evening's waving. Called the second son. Yeah, maybe not. We will see. Let's not have that one. Okay, so Vespa, let's actually do this. Once again, we spent almost an hour trying to recap stuff, and and I guess we did have a bunch of ideas. But I also think it would be kind of cool if we introduced the weapon. And it doesn't have to be called the second son, of course, but I don't know, kind of like it. It would be nice if we introduced the weapon here in the first book, and then it was sort of forgotten in the second book, and then it had a big purpose in the third book, other than just what was that? No story repeat. Hunger Games. Yeah, but I am still like, what the hell is the difficult second book going to be about? But I kind of like the whole idea of a conflict between the Paladins and the Templars, and then in the second book we could dig more into the Templars. And you know, we might even... So that's maybe a story repeating, but Rising of Cult of the Ash, which is or too much story repeat. So the Ash is another one of the old human religion doomsday prophecy, because the Equilibrium, the old human religion, was about balance in all things, and balance between fire and water were the center point. But I don't know, we already introduced the ash in the 1 minute story Burn the World. But an entire book about it, of course, might be something else. Yeah, whatever. That's for future Thomas to have a look at. We need to focus much more up on this book in front of us. Just check something. Right. Okay, so Vespa and Lemon are running through the abandoned dungeon. Trying to escape. Villain catches up with them. And there's another fight. This time villain overwhelms the two. No. But in doing so, reveals their true identity. Maybe? Of course, what is that true identity? You know, I just realized I actually quite like the idea of having it be some sort of ritual, like the Squire Ascension ceremony. Because that would also mean that all of the paladins wouldn't be in their gear, in their armor. They would just be in doublets and tabards, right? Because I do want the Son of the Evening, our suspect through the entire book, I want him to save the paladin leader by dying, basically. And that makes it way easier if he's not in full armor. Ow. I just pulled out a nose hair. Ow, that was horrible. Oh no. Ah. Oh my god. Oh, that was terrible. Oh my god. Oh, I hate that. And now one of my eyes is just welling up. Oh, that hasn't happened in years. Oh, shoot. Their true identity be revealed at the climax. Where's think? There's think. Yikes. I don't know how that happened. Oh my god. That was horrible. So I think I want I think I want the villain to be I think I've settled on the squire that's nice to Vesper. Like that could also, she has some inner turmoil in regards to that. But of course that's not the shadowy figure, but that's just he's just a pawn in this game, right? And I think then we have like we can say something about radicalizing youth, how that's never good. And have that sort of be a theme as well, maybe in the book. Yes, is the squire who was always nice to Vesper. It's the squire of Son of the Evening. This, of course, Squire of the Son of the Evening, this could like so Vesper could still could still believe that the Son of Evening was behind it all, which it turns out that he isn't. He is behind it all. This could also happen in 10. The road back. Elixir says, and you can use the shadowy figure for book 2. Yes, I actually think I want to use the shadowy figure for book 3. So, but maybe they can still like be the puppet master in book 2. And we find another villain. But I definitely think the shadow... I really like having stuff in the first book that pays off in the third one in a trilogy. You know, it shows some thought, it shows planning, and it wasn't just made up on the spot. But yeah, exactly, that is definitely the thinking there, that we never figure out who the shadowy figure is in this book. And we also had the here the secret passage. Secret passage should fork at some point, right? So if Vesper is going to be guided somehow to down one of the paths which lead to the secret lair, but if she had gone the other path, like, where would she have ended up? That would probably be at the shadowy figure. So there is some premonition, I guess you could say, if that's the right word. Premonition. Yes. Like just a foreshadowing almost. But definitely. And you know, this could also be a reason why the Squire just doesn't outright kill Vesper and Lemon right then and there, because, well, you know, he was nice to her, he liked her, he saw her for the outsider she was, and, you know, he reasons that she doesn't have to die. Of course, she's quite badly hurt at this point in the story, so that could also be it. Like, he doesn't kill her, and he's fine with her dying, just not him killing her. So, villain locks Vesper up and Lemon up in the catacombs. maybe it's not locks him, but like the catacombs, there's a drop down to the catacombs, so it's just an easy way of making sure she doesn't get out, basically. So let's see, they say here, villain doesn't actually want to kill Vespa and Lemon. But still have a job to do. So here we need to have established some sort of emotional connection. Not like in a romantic way, but just an emotional connection between the two. Not a romantic connection. Of course. But like being an outsider. Which in turn could be the reason why villain got radicalized in the first place. Bam! Oh yeah, it's all coming together right now. Let's go. Reason for villain to join cult. Of course, quite trained. So yeah, I'm guessing the road back is also everything that's gonna happen in the catacombs. Okay, so Right. So down in the catacombs. Down in the catacombs. They of course need to be lit somehow. Still. Think they need to be lit. Or at least that Vesper is able to light a torch or something. Because we don't want to have the same. Don't want the same situation as the first time. Vesper ends down there. All dark. Down in the catacombs. So Vesper and Lemon are hurt. Very hurt. And they've been thrown down into these catacombs. And of course she's very confused as to the villain here. And she's hurt physically and mentally, right? Sorry, I was just in deep thought. Vesper is hurt both physically and mentally. After the fight and finding out fight with villain and finding out who he is. Really. But still suspicious of Son of the Evening. Where did we have the... Oh, it was up here. Second dawn, second sunset. A new sun. That could also be a title. A new dawn. Actually, not. I don't hate a new sun. I also don't hate the second sun, but that might just be weird for a first book. Vesper and Lemon are hurt, both hurt pretty badly physically. And Vesper also mentally. After finding out who he really is. So this Vesper is also hurt mentally. Okay, so this I feel like is a bit of a pain point in the story. Because we need them to we need Vesper and Lemon to accidentally become soulbound, so spirit bound. So their life forces are gonna intertwine, and we have them already hurting and bleeding, and I think that's going to be like a big part of, and then exchanging blood because maybe Vesper is running with Lemon. And that's going to be a big part of the rite of binding from the Fae folk, the ritual where Fae folk gain their spirit bound. But if she's alone down in the catacombs, she's with her ghost mentor. Who can guide her. And like so one of the big things that we also established at refusal of the call, I believe, is that this is where we established that a fire, our supportive character number 1, who now has a name, like she heals Vesper and Lemon with blessed water. And Fae folk as well have healing abilities. I haven't discussed it yet in any book. But like I guess Vesper could use some of her own life force to heal her and Lemon, like at the cost of life force, right? I mean, it wouldn't be anything that would be particularly important in this trilogy, that she uses a bit of her life force. But I'm just wary that it's a bit of a Deus Ex Machina that we discussed before. Like, it's a bit of a... Oh, we've written ourselves into a corner. And now suddenly Vesper knows how to heal herself, right? Because she needs to, and I really want to avoid that. Like, really want to avoid that. I don't know. I think this it's a crucial point in the story, right? Because this is where Vesper and Lemon bind to each other's spirit. And this is also where, as we drew so wonderfully in one of the first live streams of novel preparation, like, this is where we want her to go up through the vent, through a vent next to the temple. So, like, because Lemon was down here, her bird was down here when Vesper fell down into the catacombs. And this is like the point where she's going to ask, how did you get down here? And Lemon is gonna answer her, or like she's going to understand what Lemon says, that she fell down. She was attacked by a hawk or something and she fell down the vent. Right? So this is going to be like a, we didn't forget about how Lemon ended up in a catacombs deep below the ground. I mean, it might not be the best reason, but at least it's a reason, right? And that's where she's like, oh shit, they're spirit bounds. But it is a mighty critical point in the story, like I mentioned. Whoops. I just threw a pen. Accidentally, of course. So, desperate and in despair because Lemon is much worse off than she is. Vesper cries out for help. Even though she knows no one can hear her. Because everyone is at the temple ceremony. Whatever we decide it to be, we decide it to be. Right. Right. One voice does hear her cry, though. Her ghostly mentor. And he guides her. Supportive character number 2, because we don't have a name for him. Yeah, he guides her to unlock her healing abilities. Healing herself and Lemon. Using her own spirit / life force. How does she heal them both? Meaning she dies earlier than she would. This needs to be established earlier that it is an option. So this could maybe be something in the meeting the mentor. I mean, then it could work, the mentor. Because then... maybe Vespa is complaining about not being able to manipulate the blessed water. So that's like during her squire training. During her squire training. And talks about Afaya's abilities. To which the mentor let's work out 2 the ghostly discusses ways that Fae folk heals wounds. Like nature remedies or their spirit in extreme emergencies. I mean, I guess then it could work, right? Because then it's not so much a Deus Ex Machina as it is like he's telling her, you know, Fae folk have the ability to heal. But we usually do it with nature stuff, like potions or pastes or something. That of course are not there in the catacombs. But we also have this thing we can do in extreme emergencies where we focus our life force and uses it to heal those we love. And then that combined with the fact that Lemon and herself have exchanged blood during the fight, one of the fights with the villain, that completes the ritual of binding accidentally. I mean, I think that could work. It's not horrible. Not terrible. Yeah, I'm kind of alright with that, I think. So healing herself and Lemon through the guidance of supporting character number 2, who we, well, that's probably the next person we need a name for. the two accidentally completes the ritual of binding. Ritual of binding. Honestly, that's there are some implications there that I really like for Fae folk and the rite of binding. Yeah, it's not something I need to think a whole lot about now. But I am just going to write it down real quick. Religion, Fae, folk. Rite of binding. Rite of binding. Implications. Implications. Using one's own spirit. Life force to heal baby and their animal in order to complete right. Fine. So this would mean that whoever performs the rite doesn't live as long. Because they're sort of giving it to giving it away. Like that's also I know you couldn't see, I was writing it down in my scribble. You can't see that, of course, because of the my little scribbles notebook, which you of course can't see because of the lighting. But I like that it means there is a catch to using the magic, right? Sort of like in The Witcher, where they use, well, I guess life in general in order to do magic. At least they sort of showcase it, and then in the show they forget about it. But you know, there's that scene where what's she called? Yennefer where they're training and they have to use a flower, so they use the life force of the flower to, I think, to get a rock to levitate or something. So it's establishing that there's a price to the magic, and this would be a very cool price that whoever performs the rite of binding actually shortens their own life because of it, because they're using their own spirit to heal. So that was a little detour. That was around 1 hour and 48. Using magic at a cost. That's the Witcher reference. Yes. With lemon saved, Vespa starts to look for a way out with the encouragement of her mentor, of course, of her mentor. To save the day. Vespa suddenly realizes that Lemon had to end in the catacombs somehow. From another entrance than what Vespa did. Given how she knocked down a wall or something. Knocked down a wall or something. Yeah, we probably need to figure out how she accidentally ends up in the catacombs in the first place. Need to figure out how Vespa accidentally ends up in the old catacombs in the first time. The first time. Wait. Let's add a little lull here. Because that's of course something that happens in the very beginning of story. She asks Tori Kelly, not expecting an answer in return. Much to her surprise, though, Lemon answers with whistles that Vesper can understand. What? So that's like the proof that they've been spirit bound. Lemon tells the story. And I don't think I want... let's just tell the story of how she was attacked. She got lost and was attacked by a bird of prey. Bird of prey, is that... Yes. That is predatory birds. Also known as raptors. What? That's something I need to... I need to look up. What? Bird of prey or predatory birds, also known as raptors. Huh. Well, that's weird and interesting. And something for me to look up at some point, because that's strange. I had no idea. And fell down a vent. Because Lemon was hurt when we found her the very first time, of course. So it all makes sense. It's all making sense. through... I don't know if this needs to be back through the graveyard. So I think this here picture is like... So we have the temple, we have a graveyard that... I think I want her Vesper to like... She doesn't want to walk around here because she's actually hearing voices from the graveyard, which turns out to be like voices from the dead. So that's the reason why she avoids that graveyard. We need to establish that early in the story. And then that vent is gonna be hidden in like a bush or something. Like maybe it's like right up to the temple, so if anyone should have found it, they would just assume that it was something from the temple, right? I'm not sure if I want... that was just a thought I had. I'm not sure if I want the mentor, the supportive character number 2, the hero of old. If I want him to be like an actual ghost being, you know, with like a spirit form. Or if Vesper can only talk to him when she like touches his grave, or maybe even touches the weapon, the second son. Because then in the beginning, when she ends up in the catacombs and it's super dark, and like she's walking towards Lemon, who's there with this small whistle, small hurt whistle, like Vesper could somehow, the problem is she's very small, but she could somehow place her hand on top of like a handle on the weapon. I'm pretty sure I want it to be like a giant hammer. And then she can hear someone, which turns out to be the mentor, right? And this could also be like desperate and despair because Lemon is much worse than often she is. Vesper cries out for help, and she's like stumbling over to reach the handle on the weapon to get some guidance from the men. So it's like quite active from Vesper. And if he was just a voice, so like the implication there would be that the soul of this old hero is in the weapon. So he's like infused in the weapon. Which I believe, like, if I go with that, and the more I think about it, the more I kind of like it. If I go with that and him not being a ghost thingy, like, I don't know, I just think it, well, then Vesper, it's more believable for Vesper to believe that the voice that guides her a couple of times might be the ghostly mentor, because she's never seen him in any form. She's only felt him or heard him in her mind when she touches that weapon where his spirit is infused. I think that might be the way to go, but I just need to figure out. So it can't be a tomb in traditional sense then, or like where it's like a stone sarcophagus or something. It can't really be that. Then it would be more like floor tomb, church. I mean, that could be it, right? It could be like a tomb like this. And then there's just there's like a weapon here, an actual weapon. Because then it doesn't matter how tall or how big Vesper is, and she's so small. And she could like accidentally touch him with her foot, touch the weapon with her foot. Then yeah. I quite like that. So she hears a faint voice. Support character number 2. But she only hears him when touching his spirit infused weapon. His tomb is like all the way to the floor. All the way part of the floor. So there's like these catacombs, there's like many of these floor tombs, right? And that could be why she doesn't like the graveyard, because there's just like she can feel something is off, but she doesn't know where it is, and it's not necessarily voices, but it's like, you know, if you hear something that seems like a voice but you can't quite make it out. Maybe she has the same feeling down here in the catacombs until she accidentally lays her hand on the weapon. Yeah, I think the puzzle pieces are slowly falling together. Falling in place. So... if... is not a ghostly being, but a spirit infused into his weapon, Vespa needs to actively reach for the weapon in her despair. So it's like I mean, that would be every time she's gonna go down there, she's going to be touching the weapon, right? In like crossing the threshold and testing allies and enemies. So it's not gonna be anything new, but it's just it makes her more active, I think. As she's resourceful, she knows to ask for guidance in this horrible situation that her pet is dying. And the one kid she thought, older kid she thought was maybe a friend, turned out to be a villain. It's not too bad. I know I keep saying that, but I'm actually kind of happy with all the thinking. Yes. Vent hole. I mean, this particular vent hole needs to be quite large, right? Because they say it in National Treasure when they just before they find the big treasure towards the end. They talk about how there's only one way up, which doesn't make any sense because the people who dug out the place would have made sure that there was multiple, at least two ways out. So this vent hole could be the emergency when it was the emergency exit. Because I don't want it to be like stairs or an actual door down. That would be do not want that. A rather large vent designed to be emergency exit. Okay, so now we're sort of there where I guess we need to decide. Well, we don't really need to decide now, but at least for the first draft, if Vespa should take the weapon, the hammer, and if that hammer, like, and use it to smash, have her anime moment and use it to just actually freaking knock down a wall of the temple, because that's the only way in, since she's not allowed inside. Actually, the vent hole here, large enough designed to be an emergency exit. If it's designed like this, if it's designed like this, couldn't there be stairs or holes in the wall beneath it? So that people could climb up to it, and they could be hidden behind a flag or banner or tapestry. You know, like a good reason. Because she's so freaking small. I guess she's strong, so she could make her own makeshift stairs, but I mean, that could work. That could work, I think. And so okay, let's just have the idea. Supportive character number 2, the mentor. Mentor in the weapon. A giant warhammer. Maybe just big. So like two-handed warhammer. mean, she's Fae, so she is naturally very, very strong, right? Whoops. Tells Vesper to take him the weapon with them. So I just had the idea actually that this weapon could be sort of a returning point in the story. So like she's going to use it now in the end of the story, and then as book number 2 starts or something, like it's going to be returned to the catacombs or to the Son of the Evening or whatever. And then in the end of, so like it gets taken away from Vesper, right? And then because she's just a kid and she's not even squire, she's in squire training. And then at the end of the second book, she takes it up again and saves the day. And at the end of the third book, she wields it for realsies. But like, so we get this point in the story where when Vesper takes this weapon, you know things are gonna get down. Like this is the climax is happening now because she takes the hammer, right? I think that could be kind of fun. So it's like it's like in Naruto when he summons the strength of the nine-tailed fox. Like you just have this moment of, and then of course the fighting spirit music comes on. But like you have this moment of like, okay, things are gonna get down. Now things are gonna go down. Like, yes. I think that could be kind of funny, actually. So that's around 2:21. Weapon being start of climax, start of slash things are going down. Yeah, I think that'd be good. That could be fun. Be a fun, cool thing. And then mentally, people who's reading it could be like, you know what I mean. Just so you get that, oh yeah, that feeling. Shit. Have it be a recurring plot point in the books that when Vesper picks up the hammer, weapon hammer, weapon slash warhammer, things are going down. Triumph. Triumph. Yes, hello. Just use this stupid emoji. It cannot be that difficult. Come on. I know this is a bad Chromebook, but come on. Just use the Triumph. There it was. I think that could be a really fun theme. But before that, Vespa argues that she can't enter the temple since the Squire Ascension, since the ceremony, whatever we're gonna do ceremony. I mean, if it was Squire Ascension, it would make sense as to why the villain would be there, since he is a squire, probably ascending. Since the ceremony is on. To help, and that she must find a way to save the day. Of course, here. Vespa is gonna be very drained. Very drained from this. I just realized something. There needs to be a reason why. So I want the Son of the Evening to die here, but there needs to be a reason. Like, paladins are known for using blessed water to heal, right? There needs to be a reason why they can't heal the Son of the Evening. Is it because the entirety of the blessed water pool is poisoned? Or is it just that this poison like blocks healing abilities? Because in that case, that needs to be mentioned as well. At some point in the story. Oh my god, there's so many things that needs to make sense. It's the worst. I think I've said it before, but the worst thing about making books like this, making books in general, is that they need to make sense. Okay, but so Vespa climbs up through the vent hole with her mentor's old hammer somehow. somehow. And lemon right behind. They end up in the graveyard behind the temple. Buried. Hey. Get it? Buried, because it's graveyard. Buried beneath a thicket of thorny bushes. Injuring Vespa and lemon a little further. So we need lemon. We need to make sure that lemon is like, she's got, what are they called? She got cuts and scratches when she's found. Need to make sure that lemon have cuts and scratches and thorns among her feathers when Vespa finds her the first time. So we move that, and we move on to the big climax, the resurrection. But maybe we're gonna do that next time, actually. I feel like this could be a good place to stop, and I am feeling quite tired. So next time next time on Monday we could end this hero's journey, like, for good. And it gives me some days to think about how we want to do the resurrection. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. The road back, I think, is actually shaping up to be a really nice point in the story. With this whole... yeah, with everything that happens here. So yeah, we did something today, and we're going to end it here. And as always, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. And if you like this, remember to like it on YouTube. Ow. And maybe even subscribe to me, so you can follow along with our preparation for what is looking to be called #Novel November. Maybe Novel November Challenge, maybe November Novel Challenge. Probably not November Book, because no one thinks that's a good idea, except me. But, so that is what it is. Just remember that we write our own stories. And with that, say farewell. Thank you guys for tonight. Bye.